Oh, I've been looking forward to this all day long. Not that Buck and I haven't already been gloating by text message, but now we get to do it in front of you right here on the television set. Joining me now, of course, Buck Sexton, host of the Clay and Buck Show, biggest radio show in the country. Buck, we've had less than 24 hours to soak all this in. I just can't stop smiling, buddy. My wife can't stop smiling. We were hate watching The View all morning long. The absolute misery of the filthy, evil communists in this country. It is just, I'm bathing in it today.
It doesn't get any better. I honestly had thought that Trump was going to win this election, but I wasn't anticipating the scale of the win. Like I thought it was going to come down to a couple of states and it would be tight. But when you see the across the board reasons for celebration for Trump, it's amazing. And I got to tell you, one of the funniest things for me, and I really just encourage everyone to just like take the day and really enjoy it and gloat and walk around and realize that I don't know how I was going to explain to my audience, Jesse, on radio, that the country's not insane if they elected Kamala Harris based on the campaign she ran, based on who she is. So at least I can skip all that. So that's a really good thing. But also, I was watching Morning Joe this morning, and all that stuff about he's a Nazi, he's a fascist, oh my God, they're going to round us up in camps. They didn't believe any of it. I mean, the whole thing was just a total put on, a sham, a scam. There's almost a part of me that's impressed. Like, you're going to call someone a Nazi just because you think that that will make very dumb people scared and they won't vote for them. And then when you realize that like the whole thing is up, you're like, yeah, I mean, he's not really a Nazi. That's where we are. Like, they don't actually believe any of it. They didn't, at least the ones that are on TV, they don't believe it. They just try to manipulate very stupid people. So it's amazing, man. I don't feel sorry for Kamala Harris at all. I don't think she ran a good campaign. I don't think she's an honorable person. I don't feel some sense of like, oh yeah, she was a worthy opponent. No, she was an unworthy opponent. And it's grotesque that the Democrats pretended otherwise as long as they did. So I'm totally in Spike the football mode. There's no part of me that's like, let's all just be friends. No, I say no.
Buck, I agree with you. I'd say no, absolutely not. No, we're not going to be friends. You don't get to call me a Nazi. You don't get to send the FBI SWAT teams after pro-lifers. You don't get to just conduct yourself like a rabid animal for 4 years and then wake up the day after you lose an election and say it's time for unity, it's time for peace. No. That ship has sailed. Now it's time for justice. That's what time it is. But setting that aside, I want to come back to something you said about the lies they tell to their stupid people. Nazi, Nazi, Nazi. Because I've been thinking about this a lot. I think it's a really, really evil, horrible thing to do what they've done, where they make these people mentally ill in a variety of ways, with social media, with schooling, with everything else. So they mentally shatter these people. And then they take advantage of the people they've mentally shattered by telling them things they know to be lies. I mean, we can laugh it off, and I do laugh it off, but that's a really crappy thing to do to these people. I know we've all been laughing all day long about every single lib woman that's screaming into her TikTok phone, but honestly, part of me, maybe I'm going soft, feels bad for them.
Well, there's that, right? I mean, when I say we're not all going to be friends, I mean, the happy part of me or the friendly, cuddly part of me, if such a thing exists, which I think it does, would say that the good news for Democrats is that it's going to be better for everybody. I mean, and I truly believe that. I mean, the average Democrat voter is going to benefit from Donald Trump being the president. Now, the people who run the apparatus and whether you're talking about this sort of Democrat media machine, Democrat Party apparatchiks, might not be so great for them. I mean, I'm not sure I'd want to be in Jack Smith's shoes right now, but those are sort of like political combatants, if you will, right? Those are the people that are on the battlefield. In terms of the civilians in this, which includes the Democrats, it's better for them that Donald Trump's the president. Kamala Harris is a moron. I mean, this is just. And I don't run around calling political opponents dumb or anything like that as some kind of a reflexive response to disagreeing with them. I mean, she's truly not an intelligent person who was not up for this at all and has gotten where she is through a lot of unsavory practices. So I would just say, and approaches, family show. So I would say
Uh-huh.
this with the people who are exploited, and this is the shrieking, purple haired, the women who unfortunately think that the government's going to replace their husband or their boyfriend, which will never actually work for them. It's never actually going to make them happy. Because married women, Trump won. If you're married, it was close, but it was like about a 50-50, 50-48, I think was the final tally I saw. But if you're married, and you're a woman, you're probably very likely to be, or certainly very reasonable for you to be pro-Trump. It's unmarried women, right? And I think there's a lot of bad life choices that have been pushed by the Democrat Party, and this is a much larger conversation, but that leads to women being unhappy and being unfulfilled, and that's sad. I mean, there is something very sad about this, and I know that J.D. Vance got in trouble for all the I mean, not really in trouble, and he's a stud and he's kicked ass, and I was a big supporter of his all along, but they tried to come after him with the cat ladies thing, and I was like, oh, now the cat ladies are going to speak out against him. I mean, when we say that someone has a cat, that doesn't make them a cat lady, right? There's an archetype that he was referring to, which is women who think that watching The View and doing whatever sort of menial office job they have, or maybe even making VP at the PR firm, that's going to be for most women a life that makes them happy. I think that's a big lie that the leftists hold a couple of generations of women now. And maybe there's an opportunity to start telling them the truth. And I think there is a lot of mental illness on the left. And this because all the self-identified studies show that people who are racked with anxiety and have real problems with emotional instability are much more likely to be Democrats. I mean, that's just a fact. That's what the data shows, to the degree that we have data on this. So yeah, I feel sorry for them the same way I feel sorry for any crazy person. But the people that are exploiting them and telling them, you're the ones politically that are supposed to run across the minefield for the glory of the revolution, I have disdain for those people. Like those people, we have a reckoning.
100%. There has to be some kind of a reckoning. And yes, Kamala Harris is an idiot, and yes, has done many unsavory things, as you put it. Then again, I guess it depends on where you're sitting. It may be very savory, just depending on who you happen to be at the moment, but we'll set that aside. So Trump has this huge win. He has this huge coalition. What, Buck? It's fine. It's fine. He has this huge coalition. RFK is involved. Elon Musk is involved. I know you and we temper our enthusiasm. We try to come at things sober. I'm trying to do the best I can to do that today, but how much do you think he can get done in 4 years?
Well, I think that the people that he has around him now, he kind of had this like ragtag. What's that movie where they pull together the different soldiers, like the guys who I guess it's like Seven Samurais, one version of it. You know what I'm talking about, where he pulls together
Dirty Dozen.
Dirty Dozen. Thank you, Dirty Dozen. That's right. So it was a little bit like that then. I mean, this time around, it's much more, I'm not a big like Avengers universe fan, but it's a little more like that. I mean, he's bringing together these people are studs. I mean, these people that are at the top of this Trump apparatus this time around, or, the Trump machine this time around. You're talking about people like J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, and a whole range of others that have come over to his side. I think that's really encouraging. I try not to be like, I have a man crush on Elon, but like I kind of do. I mean, he's amazing. Like he's one of the most momentous figures alive, probably going back for a few generations now. What he's done, he's changed. He's actually changing the world, which I think very few people can say. And I think that he might have saved free speech and Western civilization with some of what he has done, or certainly played a major role in it. So it's hard to, you know what I mean? Like that's just, I think that's objective. I would argue that in front of anybody. That's not like me kissing up to Elon. Like I think what he's done, I think having the richest guy in the world who's also doing more to change entire industries than any other human being alive on your team, all in as a politician, is like a pretty important and powerful thing. And the fact that he created the free speech platform that allowed us to fight back against the communist madness this time around. Anyway, I think it's hard to overstate how profound Elon is in all this. If they stay on mission, they're gonna do amazing things. And hopefully you and I and everyone watching be along for that ride. If they stay on mission, they can do absolutely amazing things. And I do think that One of Trump's weaknesses the first time around, if I could say this, despite all the stuff about how he's a Nazi and everything else, he's a fundamentally nice guy who is warm toward people and has like a very human aspect. And if anything, I think sometimes wants to be liked even by people that he should hate, because that's just in his nature. He's just not a hateful guy. Like, there's always room on the Trump train for people, even if they've, had their differences or crossed him in the past. This time around, when they try to lock you up and lock your family up and do the things that they have done, and when you've taken a bullet through the ear, I think this is a different, phase, a different focus. I certainly hope so. But the major test of it, you and I know, the major test of it will be what happens really with the border and all the illegals. Because
We will. Buck.
That's an existential challenge. All right, we're having too much fun. I'm having too much fun. You have to go do the rest of your show. Fancy TV man with your blazer on. I look like a
get your T-shirt and your perfect hair out of here. Buck, you're the best, buddy. I'll see you. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.